we don't really know the situation surrounding that. Let's let the legal process play out here. Let's see what happens over the coming weeks and coming months before casting judgment, and then see what the actual story and what the actual facts are in this case.
Right. I Robert, I don't know that well, but DM, one of my social media accounts, the house, I saw a figure clad in black walk right past.
I don't understand.
I understand through the back, especially on sliding glass door.
I got.
That was big, trying to get a hold of me and really hope that being in that moment, how crippling the fear might have been for the surviving roommate DM.
Hold up,
oh,
yeah.
JB, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just got a message from Brian Enton, who just got out of the courtroom.
Hold up,
He
yeah.
said that Bryan Kohberger was in court today in an orange T-shirt and told the court he waived his right to a speedy preliminary hearing, no bail.
Okay.
That's the guidance we've been given.
Okay, so that's a major development.
Oh my God. Hold on, y'all.
Preliminary.
I hear it, but I don't see it.
Right. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Brian, he just tweeted out, Bryan Kohberger's preliminary hearing has been set for June 26th.
June the 26th at 9 a.m. He having a speedy preliminary trial.
That is waiving your right to a speedy preliminary hearing.
Waiving his right for
but that is 6 months.
Speedy preliminary trial. 6 months.
With the preliminary hearing coming,
I don't understand why I can't show y'all.
We're going to learn some more of these details and more than likely have some of these burning questions answered. But that's 6 months from now. That's a long time. That's a long time, and especially
okay, I
of course,
what is this?
justice for the victims is always, the number one priority here, and
Okay, y'all. I just found out that Brian will
that is a long time.
trial will start. Let me pull something up, y'all. I don't understand what's the issue here.
A long time for these victims, for these victims' families in order to get more information in this case and to see the legal process carry out. You think about the fact that this all happened in mid-November, and we're looking at the summer of the following year as when this is going to be a preliminary hearing. And that's just a preliminary hearing, a long, drawn-out process.
He's going to have a preliminary hearing, y'all.
I'm always, first mind, always thinking about the victim. First thing that pops into my brain. And the victim's family in this regard. And to wait 6 months for a preliminary hearing. We were talking, people were asking, one of the comments earlier was when we were going to have, the beginning of a trial and when the actual trial process was going to get underway. And just a 6 month delay. And that catches me by surprise, Robert. Does it catch you by surprise as well?
It's a little bit hard to say, because it's all about strategy here. I think that I expected.
And not to interrupt you, this is mutually agreed upon, as I understand it. So, both of these sides came to this date. You have to wonder if one of the sides wanted this to be even beyond 6 months, and this was the compromise.
Potentially, I'm sure that we will. I'm sure we're going to be getting more information in just a couple of minutes here. But as we've said before, every defendant is entitled to a right to their best defense, and if the public attorney and the public defense counsel who was appointed to Bryan Kohberger felt so that this was the best strategy for them, they're absolutely going to advocate for it, and that's part of the legal system here.
What does everybody think? We're going to spotlight some hashtag KJB comments. What do you think of the preliminary hearing? Again, the preliminary hearing where you might, of course, get new evidence. You might, of course, get witness testimony. It is setting the stage for the trial in and of itself. What do you think of the preliminary hearing being scheduled for approximately 6 months from now, that being June 26th in Idaho? Hold on, I'm getting an alert. Okay. Bye. All right, sorry, folks. I was just being communicated to my ear that there will be feeds coming down here momentarily. Robert, if you can kind of take things over here for a second as I talk with our feeds folks. Lawyers need to prepare for the trial, but 6 months is I think a lot of folks are saying that online at the moment.
Right, and again, it's all going to come back to, how does this process carry forward? And I understand, a lot of people feeling that way here, but I mean, there are, criminal cases, which last years in the legal system. I mean, it's not totally uncommon for something like this to happen. And again, it's which factor is the most important here? Because there's several that you do have to weigh here. I mean, there are a lot of people who want justice swiftly. I mean, that's something that has to be considered. The public has a right to know and to be informed at some point. That's something to be considered. But it's also due process for a defendant. That's something that has to be considered. So how do you weigh all of these different factors here? Is in many cases how all of this ends up shaking out. Exactly. We're going to learn momentarily exactly how this date was arrived upon and what the back and forth was like in the courtroom as the folks over there figure out the feed situation. But I mean, surely we're going to be getting more information on this rather momentarily. I mean, there's just a lot to consider. There's a lot to consider in any one of these processes. And as we get forward here over the next few months, I mean, surely that's going to be tough for these families in order to think about how long it's going to take for them to serve justice. But I mean, you look on the other hand as well. Bryan Kohberger is not being offered bail, so I mean, he's going to be sitting in jail for those 6 months, waiting for this case to come up as well. So I mean, this is going to be a long time. This is going to be long and drawn out until we get to that preliminary hearing process.
We are moments away from the feed coming in. I actually tapped into a second feed that might come in first here in the Stream Center. So I'm monitoring 2 separate feeds coming through on different technologies. The moment it's available, we're going to have it here live in the WFLA Now Stream Center. So we're going to be monitoring your comments here as we have Robert Sherman joining us from News Nation. Afterwards, we're going to be answering some questions, but some of the things that, of course, people are going to be looking for, demeanor, body language, just overall the conversation on how June 26th was selected as the date. And I believe now we do have the feed coming in. Let's listen in live from Idaho. Apologies, not live again. Let me make this clear. This feed is coming in live, but this is the court hearing that took place a short time ago. And it would appear that they are preparing to play it back, and they did play it back, and something didn't operate correctly. So you're looking here at the screen that they're using to feed that back. So quite literally, we are waiting on somebody to hit the play button. And they also might have stopped because this is what will happen so oftentimes with live feeds, is somebody says they're not ready, that they're not recording. This is in all likelihood a pool feed, so all media outlets across the country have to be ready for them to receive this feed, and so they might have hit pause, a little bit of behind the scenes as to what's going on, and now it appears they are trying to play it back, and here it is. This was moments ago in Idaho.
Are you a real estate agent and don't know what to post on your social media? RoomView gives you ready to share videos
right now. So all outlets.
A big question ahead of trial.
So
Right, and of course,
live stream will be seeing the same exact screen.
TJ, turn your TV down, your radio down.
No audio on this feed just yet. They will likely turn on audio once the court hearing begins. This was
Y'all, they not televising
the status hearing for Idaho murder suspect.
the trial. Right now, y'all, they are not going to televise uh, their preliminary. It's not. It's a trial, but it's just a scheduling trial. And I just found out that they just scheduled the trial for June the 26th in Idaho. So Brian on his way back to the cell. So he waved it over, y'all. So they gave 6 more months. He'll be going to trial. He'll be going to trial.
State of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger. Mr. Kohberger is in custody. He is appearing here in court with his attorneys, Ms. Taylor, Mr. Lofton, Mr. Thompson, Ms. Jennings appearing on behalf of the state. This is the time set in the matter for the preliminary hearing status conference. So I am going to inquire of counsel, Ms. Taylor, what's the status at this time?
Thank you, Your Honor. We are going to ask the court to set preliminary hearing out into June. We would request the 3rd or 4th week of June, and probably 4 or 5 days for preliminary hearing. Mr. Kohberger understands his right to a timely preliminary hearing, and he's willing to waive the timeliness to allow us time to obtain discovery in this case.
And Mr. Thompson, are you in agreement with that?
The state has no objection to that, Your Honor. Ms. Taylor reached out to us by email yesterday with her proposal. On reflection, the state's calendar will be better in the month of July, but we will make the June work. That's the court's preference. And I haven't had a chance to talk to Ms. Taylor about that. I'm sorry, I know that's last minute.
That's okay. The court's calendar is going to be better towards the end of June, early July. So would that work, Ms. Taylor, for your scheduling on your other matters?
Your Honor, yes, if we take that 4th week in June, that's actually best.
Okay. So, Mr. Kohberger, I need to speak to you for a moment then. Sir, you do understand, and Ms. Taylor has represented here, that she's advised you of your right to have, or fully discussed with you, the right that you have, which is to have your preliminary hearing within 14 days of the date that you initially appeared before this court. As you recall, when I advised you of your rights, that hearing is a probable cause hearing where the state has to establish that more likely than not, these felony offenses were committed and you are the one that committed the felony offenses. If you waive your right to a speedy preliminary hearing, it does not mean that you're giving up your right to have a preliminary hearing. It simply means that you would not be able to come back and challenge that the state did not present probable cause within 14 days. Do you understand?
Yes.
Have you had enough time to speak with Ms. Taylor about your decision to waive your right to a speedy preliminary hearing?
Yes.
Do you need any additional time to do so?
No.
Then I will ask at this time as to the 5 felony counts that were charged in the criminal complaint that was filed on December 29th of 2022. Are you waiving your right to a speedy preliminary hearing and agreeing that that hearing can be held outside the 14-day period?
Yes.
And Ms. Taylor, if you concur with his waiver. I will find your waiver of speedy preliminary hearing is knowing, intelligently, voluntarily entered here in open court with the assistance of counsel. We will go ahead and set the matter for a preliminary hearing. Monday, June 26th at 9:00 a.m. And I will go ahead and reserve the week, so June 26th to June 30th, in the event that we need all 5 days for presentation of evidence. And just so council knows, it will begin at 9 a.m. each of those days. Is there anything further to address at this time in the case, Mr. Thompson?
Not from the state's perspective, Your Honor.
Or Ms. Taylor?
No.
Okay. Kohberger, then you will be remanded into custody on your same no bail at this point in time, pending further proceedings. Again, we'll send notice out to council, and we will be in recess for this morning.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Breaking news on WFLA now. Here is JB Buno.
The preliminary hearing for Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger set.
All right, y'all.
6. Kohberger making his.
I was just coming in to give y'all that information. They didn't televise it. Just wanted y'all to know that the preliminary here will be June the 26th. Probable causes. So,
Our comment
woo.
section is lighting up with one comment in particular. No
But
doubt,
thanks for coming, y'all. I just wanted I haven't even taken no nap. Ain't no use to me going to sleep now. I couldn't go to sleep until I get this information for y'all. But yeah, Bryan will be going to court June the 26th in 6 months, and it will be held at 9 o'clock in Idaho. It won't be televised. So that's how come I brought it to you all like this. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Peace. Take it easy.
In Idaho court, so I'm looking at this as potentially maybe shaving cuts